Haha. Funny, haha. I was just recording a whole thing and it didn't record. But maybe it's in the Akash. In the Akash? Oh yes, in the Akash. Okay, I'm gonna actually... No, I'm not gonna go down that road. I just heard don't do it B. So I'm not. Anyways, the past couple of videos that I'm gonna upload, but that I've recorded so far, I'm talking about Christ consciousness and what Jesus Christ was actually about. And it's pretty cool because today is December 19th or 20th?
19th.
Today's December 19th, 2021. And it's technically almost what a lot of the masses, get it? Christ Mass. The masses know JC, Jesus Christ. He's my homeboy. I call him JC. He told me once not if I wanted him to answer. So I'm not allowed to call him that directly. But you know, in my fucking neck of the big MT, I call him JC and he answers. So for the record.
Nice.
Oh my god, yeah, true story. So what I was saying at the end of the last video before I got cut off was I was saying how like a lot of these stories that have been told over the fucking thousands of years and whatnot of human existence, about, you know, religion, different religious stories, or, you know, they could be like mythology or fables, whatever, like all that folklore, all that stuff. Okay, well, I know I'm actually getting into a variety of topics and I'm gonna try and keep this home to just one.
It's all under the same.
Yeah, it's all basically the same thing.
It is. In
essence, right? Like, it's beliefs that and stories that have been carried through time because of the moral of the story or the message that is trying to be carried through. And so, like, when I met Jesus, well, I think he was Jesus. He didn't tell me he was Jesus, but in my world, that was JC, and he said he wouldn't answer me. But the reason I thought this, because just going back to like that whole like 5-6 years back when it was like a year and a half, 2 years, like I kept running into people that were talking like all this kind of biblical different biblical stories and stuff, and how I'd shut down, and then I got to the aha moment and realized that what was coming through people was like before religion actually existed. It was like really awesome epiphany moment. I literally rode my bike by the Chapel of Epiphany once in Vancouver, like on my way to Wreck Beach. I was riding my bike, it was after a mushroom trip, and I looked over and it literally, there was a sign, the Chapel of Epiphany. True fucking story. And it was like an epiphany moment because that was a crazy mushroom trip. But I gotta stop here because I think I might have dropped a 50 bill. We're gonna look at it with the spotlight that kills drones for real. It's so fucking bright. It's like brighter than me in the fake sense. Oh, look. Is it there?
I haven't seen it.
I thought I saw something. Let's manifest 50 bills. 50 bills. Why? What would $50 be worth in like real fucking real shit, you know, not the illusionary like, oh, money. It's energy, right? Okay, I'm gonna get back on topic. Oh, my fucking flashlight. There's something going on here. I fucked it up. I don't get my same little like beam out thing anymore.
Oh no?
But if it was floating around here,
Yes.
It should literally be, actually it's probably on your side, because that's where I was parked. So I would have got out. And if you find it, I'll give you half.
I'll see. I'll take a quick look.
So, going back to, where was I? Yeah, these stories that have been carried through time, and like how with some people it was before religion, actually, and that was like my epiphany moment. And it was cool because also amidst this time of people like talking of these different stories and whatnot, or prophecies, or there was 3 people very distinctly that said to me, did you find it?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. Oh well.
It's just white out there.
Well,
No pink.
Oh yeah. 50 bills are pink or red?
Oh, they're pink, red.
Red and pink. Well, red is kind of pink in all essence. Are you colorblind? What, actually it's really cool. There was a thing that I got on like an email once or something, and I did it, but it was like really rad to see how different a color will look. And they were doing like a gender thing, like between men and women, what the color looked like. Wow, like holy wow. It's really interesting to see that stuff, because ultimately, in essence, every color of everything would look slightly different to every form of life.
Oh yeah.
And it's so important that we keep this at heart and in mind, because our differences, oh, hey buddy, I'll call you back. I love you. That's my buddy. We've been friends, like, he's probably like my oldest friend.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, man. He's like my grad escort and everything.
Oh, nice.
He was on house arrest, but we kept partying. Like, fuck it.
Nice.
You're arrested to your house. Wait a second, am I not on the big empty? Am I not arrested to my own, like, little temple of bone and whatnot? That's true, it's a fact, darlings. Because when you really get free of the big empty, this whole Christ consciousness I'm talking about, that's when you get home to eternity. True fucking story. I knew it all along, I just forgot the words. Okay, I'll continue. I'm sorry if I'm getting on your nerves right now. I haven't seen you in a while. I know, like, you ate that, whatever. You know who you are. I'm just like, I've been talking to like all my people in little segments today. It's awesome. So you guys, you notice how telepathic we are? Like we're like freaking ninjas, because we think of each other and then all of a sudden we're calling. Or like, me and my buddy Jay here the other week, it was so random. Like, I never buy these freaking things, and I'm just like, I had this urge to buy these high chews at the freaking Fast Gas on my way to his place. And then I show up at his place, and he's like, I got all these high chews. I'm like, well, that would fucking explain why I'm buying something I never fucking buy on my way to your place.
Oh yeah, because I was craving them hard.
Yeah, so that's how telepathic we are.
Yes, telepathic, not telepathetic.
No, I know. But it is pretty pathetic that we got all this going on when we should be creating the vision. Good save, eh?
Yeah, nice.
But okay, where was I? Oh yeah, so amongst that time of like all these stories and people as me telling these stories, there was like 3 distinct people. They all said to me, I am Jesus Christ. And I'm just like, the frame of mind I was in at that time, I'm just like, holy fuck. Like, I'm good. I don't need to hear anymore, right?
Yeah.
But even like throughout my life, I've heard other people say that. And then it got to the point where all of a sudden I got it. But I really, really got it even more, which is why I'm doing this little vlog, video blog. Extra read all about it. Like this morning, I got it even more. It's like, oh my God, I am Jesus Christ. And basically it just breaks down, what it breaks down to is, because ultimately that's what's happened through time, is we've taken our united consciousness and awareness of our connections and our connectedness, and we got stuck in the big empty matrix of things. And how do we get out? Well, it's a fucking process. Sometimes we need a couple corona fucking, I'm beyond like lockdown, so we can do some soul searching or shadow work. That's the key. Shadow work is, I like to look at it as like, you fight the war within so that you don't have to fight any war without, like on externally, right? Like if we actually look at our own selves and rip our shit right apart, it can be very like, it's not meant to be traumatizing, it's meant to be healing. So pace yourself, because I know like there was moments where if I would have went like full on really hardcore intensive, holy shit, like I could see how that could traumatize a person.
Oh, of course. No, it's like exercising any kind of muscle.
Yeah.
No,
yeah, exactly.
You strain it too hard and you do damage instead of actually, building or,
the strength.
Encouraging growth.
Yeah, that's a really good way to look at it. I like the way you put that.
It's the way I look at it, at least.
Because everything is ultimately like a muscle.
It's a skill. It's something that needs to be practiced.
Yeah, our training. And that's ultimately what like our life here is about, right? It's our training and our return to consciousness.
Yes.
And then we go through these processes of like reincarnation, and sometimes there's so much fuckery talked about in your name that you really gotta have like a second coming so you could freaking tell the truth from your own being. But then you gotta prove it and shit, and that's where like the mythology and the gods and the goddesses, and how it's just easier to fucking segregate them from ourselves. Because for somebody to say, oh, I am God, holy fuck, man, like they might burn us at the stake or something,
Yeah.
And who's they? Like who's gonna burn us at the stake? Well, if we haven't done our shadow work, it's gonna be fragments of ourselves. Are you following me? No, please don't follow me. Unless you're really watching, but I'm not gonna be held accountable for your own bullshit. No, I'm just kidding. Well, no, because, okay, if I was Jesus Christ, I'd probably be saying something like, guys, I stood up for you fuckers once already.
I'm not doing it again.
And frankly, it doesn't look like you really learned a whole fucking lot. There's all this bullshit everywhere. No. Are you kidding me? Because fucking Peter, John, oh wait, Dancer, Prancer, Blitzen, Vixen, fucking Rudolph, they're all telling me their name is Jesus Christ now. Well, Rudolph wanted to be Santa. I was like, that's fine, like you're looking up his sleigh.
He's a special one.
Rudolph for sure, man. Like he shines the sleigh so bright. Or something. It's been a while. Children do correct me, and I'm really sorry if I blew Santa right out of the water for you. But now you know the truth. So believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Believe in you. That is what's most
Believe
important.
in you.
Believe in you. Believe in yourself. Never quit yourself. Remember my daughter would go to school and I had this like stickers I made one morning, and she'd walk out the door and all she'd see is never quit yourself.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe she's my mom in a reincarnation somewhere along the line, because I think we kind of did a flipperoo there.
At one point, yeah.
Oh, for sure, man. Like, I was like momming all the time, and then she was momming because I went back into teenage mode because I didn't quite get the party out before I had her.
Exactly.
So that would be like the cookums, you know? I love like the native ways, you know, because cookums will usually raise the grandbabies. But what I've come to learn about it from a personal level, I'm in my like 40s now. I might have lost or gained a year. I don't know what happens. Like the other year, my friend, she was like, B, no, you're only 38. I thought I was 39. And she's like, no, you're 38. I'm turning, and I'm like, oh fuck, I thought you turned 40 last year. She's like, because the way she worded it on her thing, she had said something like, celebrate I'm not 40 yet, but I was like reading it real fast and just fucking excited to go see one of my most beautiful friends and still in my life. I love you, Serene. And like, yeah. Anyways, but whew, man, I'm a handful sometimes. Like, I just fucking get going on these little tangents. It's alright. But yeah, so Christmas, Christ consciousness, meeting all these people and the fucking reindeer. They're telling me their name is Jesus Christ, and then waking up again and then again. And it's like each awakening, you know, it's the gentle process that we aim for in like this existence when we're unplugging or helping each other awaken again, is we try and keep it as gentle as possible, because, you know, like look at Neo, he's fucking popping all over the place and shit, and it's like kind of, it's a bit much. And then sometimes we get stuck and it's hard to unplug when we get like past a certain age. Like, I was getting scared for myself inside the freaking empty, and then I was like, what the fuck, you know, I was fully aware of it, but I still felt like stuck inside it, even though I knew like the moral and the more to the story in my beliefs. I mean, you don't have to believe a fucking word I'm saying. You believe in you, okay? I support. If you want to listen to my insight that I've discovered in my personal journey, I hope it gives you something that helps alleviate the pressure, so to speak, you know, or that seeming disconnect that we go through at times where, you know, we lose a lot of life that way because of what this like kind of, oh fuck, I'm thinking of like a vampiric like fucking entity. But, you know, like like they say in the Matrix, you know, if you die in the Matrix, well, the body cannot live without the mind.
No.
You know, but the mind
can flourish without the body.
Exactly. So, holy shit, is that wings I've been growing? What the fuck? Yeah, don't tell on me.
Yeah.
I won't tell on you. They can put me in the cuckoo pile. That's okay, I'm down with it. Because here's the thing. Jack Nicholson, I think it was Jack Nicholson, he tried to fly over the cuckoo's nest. Yes. But the deal is, like, you can't fly over it. You can't fly around it. You can't fly under it. You gotta fucking go straight through it. And when you go straight through it, then you come out the other side with the compassion and the humility, like the humble, and, you know, you start to remember things that you reunite and you get home and you don't even have to go very far because it was right there the whole time. You know, when they say it's an inside job, that's Christ consciousness. And that's ultimately what I think a big part of Corona. I'm getting a Corona next video. I promise you, we're going to be sipping on Coronas. And yeah, like, everybody's got their different takes on like what this Corona thing has all been about, or maybe even like what you think Christ consciousness might be. But it was last year where I was breaking down the word Christmas, Christ Mass, and I'm like, the masses, consciousness, waking up, fucking Corona, the crown chakra, like, the big awakening and the huge shift of humanity, the human species. Like, we are leveling up, but we gotta like do stuff like this to help each other like progress along. We gotta get the vibrations up, and when we get the vibrations up, like, things become lighter when we realize that we're not so fucking way down, because we're just like conscious. We're like one consciousness, one connected collective consciousness. Oh yeah, dub, brother, dub. But like, in so much of what we've been led to believe is reality is really what we've been helping co-create to be reality. But are you allowing them to tell you a vision? Are you becoming subdued in the simulations? Or are you actually coming back into your personal power of recognizing that we're motherfucking ninjas and we're like a whole conscious collective? And when you get to that other side, when you get right here, right now, and you're aware of that, there's nothing fucking mandatory here, darlings. Everybody just go about their free life and love and just have a great fucking time, because that's what we're here for. And you get lighter. So much lighter, literally, because, you could be a bird for one moment, and then you could jump back into your avatar here, or like tag in and out with your sister, your brother, whatever, like ascension, the whole tribe, like all of us coming back into those connections and establishing those lines and recognizing what it is, like the magic, the manifestation of reality. It is all of our projected visions of our lives, of what we want to see, what we put out there in our thoughts. That is creation. Mm-hmm. And that is what we are here to do. And don't let anybody tell you different, but if you want to believe them, I'm not going to force you not to. I'm just hoping to enlighten you a little bit. Get it? Enlighten. Oh. Get inside the lighten ups. Okay, anyways, I'm gonna actually I want to turn this over to my friend Jay, because he's got a wicked mind. I'm just curious though, Jay, what would you like, pretend you didn't hear anything I said or whatever, but like if I asked you what would you how would you describe Christ consciousness?
Christ consciousness would be keeping the mentality of consciously perpetuating Christ's ideals. The mentality that there is no need for organized religion. His whole thing was a fight against organized religion. Mm-hmm. He, from the get-go of the turning over of the temple, when he saw commerce being done inside the fucking Hebrew, like in the temple at the time, which would have been Jewish, of course, but his whole thing was not to be a dick, to treat one another as equals. It's maintaining that mentality, to strive to be a good person, not necessarily
illusionary control.
Yeah, basically, just not to fall under the control, and to think for oneself. There's a lot more to his mentality, and it wasn't about following a set religion or anything. He created his own. Christianity was created because of Jesus's teachings.
Yeah. And it was, well, I was talking about that in the video before, just like taking back religion and actually looking at it for what it is. It's a practice of belief.
Yep.
And it's so basic, you know, but we've had like pretty much one religion like kind of take over that definition.
Oh, most definitely. It also is the furthest thing from what Christ was trying to do. Christianity is so far strayed from the teachings of Christ. It's become just a system of control, a system of manipulation.
Or maybe just one too many people got lost in translation.
Well, that's the entire thing. It's all lost pretty much. The
No.
organized version of Christianity is so far from what he was teaching. Number one, it's an organized religion.
Yeah.
Which he was against.
Well, he was for like encouraging people. Well, he wanted to like give everybody the opportunity to feel they belonged.
Well, yeah.
To something, you know, but also too not to like. It wasn't about fighting amongst one another of your beliefs. It wasn't about
waging wars in the name of Christ. He was a pacifist in the long run.
Well, hence fucking the second coming, you know? It's like, man, you guys fucking blasphemized the shit right out of me and like what I was actually...
Oh, yeah.
You know, that it actually renders him a whole... Lo and behold,
yeah, it's a I told you so moment.
but the second coming though is what we're in right now, like big time, you know, like, and I look at these people that I've met. I am Jesus Christ. I am Jesus Christ. It's like fucking A, man. People actually caught on to his message, and his message was, I am Jesus Christ. In other words, I stand for what I believe in, and nobody can tell me otherwise. I can choose, you know, it's all one name, one consciousness, one love, like all that stuff. Like that's...
Well, that's exactly it. It's about unity. It's about togetherness. I don't know.
Well, the human condition, rather than it being the human condition, we need to take a step back and recognize the human connection. And the simple fact that, you know, even if we're different cultures on opposite sides of the world and we have our different practices and whatnot, that is okay.
Yes.
And like foreign, to be like an alien, you know, we're foreign to an environment. That's all it is. Like, and in like, this is actually reaching even more into the connected collective consciousness, but like, I've looked at it like the human brain, okay, how they say like we only utilize like 10% of our brain, which actually, Dom, I gotta get a hold of you sometime. We gotta continue on that conversation, but I like the way he put it. He's like, no, actually we use like 90% of our brain. And then he started going into like music and that kind of connection. But how I saw this once though was like looking at it, okay, so we use 10%. Well, what's going on with the other 90%? And then I started thinking of the whole, and it's like, okay, well, if I'm using 10%, that would make sense because, you know, you would be using another 10% and this person would be using another 10%. And so like together, it's all like percentages of the whole. But when we come into that recognizing that we are all connected and that consciousness comes to light in one being, then we're like, wow, like that is the force to be reckoned with. That is like source. That is God, the God self.
in order to accomplish anything, there needs to be more than one person. Usually, most tasks, especially when it comes to a metaphysical nature, take more than one practitioner or one person utilizing it. You need to be able to utilize more than one. Therefore, your theory is pretty correct.
Yeah, and like, you know, it's really interesting because yeah, you mentioned metaphysics and stuff. Like I personally, I've been dealing with a lot of spell magic fuckery and like,
Mm-hmm.
but it's interesting though because it takes a group
Yeah.
for like one person, but the thing that they're failing to recognize is I'm beyond that. Like I am of one consciousness. So, you know, if you want to, and that's why it's like what you put out comes back to you because we are all of one consciousness.
Yep.
And that's what needs to be recognized, especially, you know, like the magic of it all. It's like, do unto others as you would have do unto you. Well, what you put out in a magical sense, it's coming right back. Don't ever put anything out that you are not prepared to receive back.
Oh, exactly.
And it's like, and that's the thing, like with the connected collective and how like this here was my theory on like how certain major like mental disorders said to be like a psychopath, for example. And it's like how we get to some of these extremes in our human collective. And my theory was, well, that happens when there's like overcompensation based on any kind of detriment or like repression that is placed on something or on someone, like social conditioning.
Yeah.
So like we have parts of ourselves that we condition out, but yet they're these things, you know, that like it could be. I mean, the best example I could think, I'm just like, yeah, I'm definitely in my fucking dirty 40s. But I'm thinking of like, even like you look at the sex industry and stuff like that and how some of these extremes that come into play. It's like, you know, if people actually weren't conditioned to be afraid to like explore things that, you know, are intriguing to them, and there was none of that repression, we probably wouldn't have such savage extremes
No, we wouldn't.
in the collective.
Restriction leads to extremes.
Well, it's the fucking order that led to the chaos in the first place.
Mm-hmm. It's over control. It's repression. It's the repression of human nature that becomes a big problem. You know, you don't give your kid a candy bar for years. They never get candy. As soon as they get candy for the first time,
Yeah.
it's like an all-out addiction. And they strive, or they hoard it, or they anything that's kept away from people that people will tend to hoard,
Yeah.
for the lack of a better term,
Or take it to extremes.
well, exactly, because
You-
it's a foreign concept to them. They or that they never know whether they're going to get it again or anything.
Yeah.
So then it becomes
Like a fiend.
yeah, for the lack of a better way of saying it.
Absolutely.
But that's exactly what it breeds.
And so,
Even you look at like consumption of say controlled substances. You go to places like the Netherlands that have no statutory limitations on like what you can have. Their crime rate is damn near low.
yeah.
It doesn't exist because there's no need for it.
Yeah.
People don't need to rob each other. People don't need to, mug each other or hoard things.
Exactly.
Because it's accessible.
Well, that's like when I was digging up the roots of, I was digging for the root of all evil, okay? And how like it said, well, money is the root of all evil. And so I pushed it beyond that. I'm like, well, no, like what money is just an external representation of energy. It's a form of currency.
Yeah, it's what replaced goods as in a trade system.
Well, like, and universally, it's like, okay, you don't have anything that I want or need to trade, but so then we got this currency to take its place so that it can be used across the board.
Yeah, well, it's
But then, you know, okay, then now I'm going to that. But going deeper, what would be the root of like money representing the root of all evil? Well, control or greed.
Well, yes, greed is ultimately the worst thing that happens to people. It comes with power. It comes with, well, restriction. A lot of it. The control aspect of it. The more you have, the more you can control. And that's a...
Well, that's an illusion, though.
That's an illusion that we create for ourselves.
Or that we've allowed ourselves to continue to be subjected to. Because, like, you know, in all actuality, if we look at it, like, we employ our government.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't realize this, and they're just like...
The government works for us.
Ultimately, they're our employees. They're representations of we the people. They're an extension of us.
Yes.
So when we start to take our power back as individuals, we recognize as within, so without. That's why I say, like, do your shadow work, fight the war within, so you're not fighting it without. Because more often than not, like, I look at some partnerships that I've had in life, you know, and it's like in losing people that I've loved dearly, I look at, like, I've done a lot of reflecting, and it's like I started seeing my shadow and how there were things like within myself that I just fucking I hated it. It's like, I don't like that way of being and stuff. But then when you start to go into your shadow work, you recognize that you actually do these things that you think you hate and that you don't do.
Yep.
But you're projecting them out because it's like an unconscious patterning. So when we actually do our shadow work and recognize this, then we're able to reflect more and to project the beauty and like the peace and like all this innate things that the majority, if not all of us, innately want from our lives. Like, everybody wants to be fulfilled. Everybody wants to serve a purpose, to feel like they belong, to actually have something worthy of like being here for, to feel needed, all that stuff. Like, it's all innate, you know, and that's just getting it all down to basics and recognizing that within ourselves. And then we bring that to light. But taking our power back as individuals, we begin to co-create rather than to just live in this simulation of a projected reality of fucking control and all this shit that even those that have been in control for so long, like, if we got them right back down to basics, they would be wanting and desiring the exact same things that every single one of us has right to, and that source, God, gave us in the first place. And so take your power back, recognize where your power comes from and what real power actually is.
Wow, that sums up Christ consciousness right there.
Yeah, man, we did it.
Nice.
Almost 40 minutes.
Nice.
We're gonna say, do you have anything you want to add?
No, that you summed it up pretty good.
Sweet. Thanks
I put my little 2 cents in there.
Me and Jay always have awesome conversations. There's one I found earlier. It's kind of funny because we're being little shitheads. You know, I'm not going to sugarcoat nothing. It's like, oh, what? You've been watching me like the goddamn Truman Show all this fucking time. You should be ashamed of yourselves. How would you feel if you were up there on that television? I hope I've at least inspired you to, you know, create the vision with us, the collective, connected consciousness. We're in it right now, guys. Like, straight up. We are fucking heaven on earth, co-creating new earth. Like, this is a real thing. 5D right here, right now.
Yep.
So help spread the word. And, you know, like, I don't know, anybody who's been coming around my videos and stuff, but I wouldn't mind leveling up a little bit. Like, share, and subscribe if you're feeling my vibes. That'd be awesome. Thanks
Do it.
Thanks for sharing your time. We'll see you next time.